I'm Laura and this is Redford, and we live in a 192 square foot tiny house on wheels. After about 6 years of 2 people and a dog living full-time in such a small space, we knew that we needed to do some work to the house. We had accumulated some projects that needed to be done. We knew that there was a leak underneath our sliding glass door where the subfloor needed to be fixed. We never actually finished the flooring in our house, so it was probably about time that we put real flooring down. We needed a new cap on our chimney. The countertops needed to be refinished for the 3rd time, and there was quite a bit of painting that needed to be done. We were also going to get a new mattress, and something was going to happen with our couch and our seating area here. In addition to all of these tiny house projects that have built up over the years, we have fixed all sorts of things. And that list is too long for this video, but you can check out some of our other videos telling the story of how we came to live in this tiny house on wheels and all of the interesting things that we've experienced over the 6 years that we've lived in this small space. But now we're going to share the story of how we finally finished our tiny house. Let's talk about what started this whole process of redoing some of the tiny house, and that is this eyesore over here. Hi, Redford. So it looks pretty bad right now, and it is. A few months ago, maybe, I guess it was around the spring, so at some point during the spring, we used to keep our shoes over here, and I went to move one of our shoes, and I touched the floor and felt that the paint was sort of peeling up, and the floor underneath it was soft enough that I could put my fingernail through it. And I was like, oh no. So it was at that point that we realized it wasn't just from condensation. In the winter, this door gets a lot of condensation kind of going down, and sometimes it would make that area damp, and we would do the best we could to protect it and try to clean it up and dry it off every once in a while, especially if it was snowing or something and we were walking inside and out. But it's definitely more than that. I started to peel some of the paint away just to see how much of the wood was actually affected. And as I kept peeling, I kept finding more areas that were either damp at that time or definitely soft, so they had been wet at some point in the past. And we started to figure out that there was a leak somewhere around the glass door. Now, this is partially our fault because one of those projects that we were supposed to do after we got the house was to put an awning over the door. And our contractor was saying that if we had an awning over the door, it probably would have maybe slowed it down, hopefully, or possibly even prevented this from happening, because it just shields all of those seams around the door, so it's less likely that those areas are going to leak, because from having an RV, you know, it's always the seams, right? Those are the places where you're susceptible to a leak forming if something isn't sealed properly. So we thought about it for a few months over the summer because we figured it wasn't a super big rush because it seemed to be doing a little better. It was mostly dry unless it rained really super hard, and the wood was already ruined, so we knew it had to all get ripped out. And we got some time to think about what we wanted to do, especially because we never finished our floors. The flooring that you see here is actually the subfloor, and we were supposed to put flooring down after we got the house. That's another project that never got finished. But luckily, we didn't do that. If we had, I probably would not even know that this was going on right now. We would have flooring on top of it, and the subfloor would be rotting, and we wouldn't even know it. So I'm actually really glad that we never finished the flooring, because now we get to fix this before it turns into a really catastrophic problem. Then we started thinking, what do we need to do to the tiny house? We're getting close to 6 years of full-time living in this space, and one of the things that we know is living in such a small space, everything gets more wear and tear. everything just kind of needs to be updated and cleaned and fixed a little bit more frequently because there's just so much use of every single surface, especially the floor right in front of the door. I mean, that gets so much wear. And when I did the original floors in the tiny house, when I painted them, I loved the way that it looked. It was exactly what I wanted, and it wasn't a flooring pattern that you could buy. So I was really happy that I was able to paint it, but even after sealing it, it just wasn't strong enough to that everyday wear and tear of walking in, the dog, it gets wet, all that kind of stuff. We finally said, okay, we need to finish the floors, but before we finish the floors, we need to finish painting. Because in order to paint up all the way at the top of the house where the ceiling is really high, I have to not only stand on the counter, but I have to put this step stool on top of the counter so that I can reach up there. After the painting is done, then I need to refinish the countertop again. I think this is the third time. Third and last time. If this time the butcher block does not hold up to the daily wear of us just cooking and making coffee in the kitchen, we're either going to take out the counter and replace it with something else or cover it with something. Because this is the last weekend or weekends that I'm going to spend refinishing these countertops. The last little bit of the original flat gray is up on the top panel there, and you can kind of see the darker lines that have formed. That's where the steel framing is, right behind where those darker lines are. And if you look at the wall on an angle, I don't think I'll be able to show it on the camera, but there's like little faint mildew spots because the flat paint just does not do well in the tiny house because it's such a constant battle against moisture, especially high up in the corners and then down in the corners like behind the couch. That's one of our biggest problem areas. So we are making our way around the last little bit of flat paint here and then up in the storage loft. I'm gonna have to move all that stuff. But it has to be done because the yellow and the white paint that we have at the bottom is all a high gloss finish, and that does so much better with the high humidity of the tiny house. So as much as I would love to be outside doing something fun right now, we kind of have to do this before it gets too cold this winter. While we worked on the house, Redford did his usual job of supervising and occasionally getting in the way. Okay, we're getting some progress here. Slowly. It's hard to reach up at the top. I'm actually gonna have to put a step stool on the counter to reach all the way up there to cut in. But the main priority right now is actually getting the area around the bed done, which you can tell it's a pretty professional operation here. But the next thing that we're going to be doing in this whole like tiny house mini renovation is to get a new bed. We're going to take this mattress, put it in the Scamp, and get a new mattress for the tiny house. Over the next several weeks, Patrick and I went back and forth with cutting in and rolling until all of the original flat gray was covered with this really bright, happy orangey yellow. And I know it's not common to put a high gloss paint on your walls, but this is a tiny house, and because of the moisture challenges, we have really found that it just does such a better job of staying clean and resisting that moisture and resisting mildew. Now that the painting is finally done, we can turn our attention to the countertop. And yes, this is the same counter that I showed you earlier. That butcher block has a hard time holding up to the day-to-day use. Patrick was outside cutting some wood, so I decided to work on another noisy job and start sanding the top of the butcher block. This was something that I have done 2 times previously, and part of the issue was that I used a very natural sealer for the top. Originally we tried just oiling the wood, that didn't work. I tried getting a natural sealant for the top 2 times, that didn't work. And then when I stopped sanding for a moment and tried to turn the lights on, I realized that we had yet Another problem that we could add to the list of things that needed to be fixed. The countertop is coming along slowly. It's nice to see that there's still good looking wood underneath there, but as I was working over here, I went to turn the light on so that I could see a little bit better, and I guess this is a common thing with a house. You're fixing one thing, something else breaks. Now the overhead lights, so there's the loft lights for the storage loft. They are working fine, but now the overhead lights, there's 6 of them right in the middle of the house. They're kind of barely turning on. Now, this light over here where the cover's missing, we know that that LED just needs to be replaced. But the other ones were fine, and now they are not fine. So I have no idea what happened, but now it's kind of dark in here. But the sander's working fine, and Pat was using the electric chainsaw, and that was working fine, so we don't know. And then finally, once this is refinished, then we are ready to have this fixed and then to put the new flooring in. We are hoping, this is probably not going to happen, but we were hoping this could be fixed without taking out the door, but I have a feeling we're going to have to end up, or not we, the contractor is probably going to have to take out the whole sliding glass door, figure out where the water damage is, where it came from, fix the subfloor, and then put the flooring in. We just ordered the flooring from Home Depot last weekend, and I'm pretty excited about it. We were originally just going to go with something kind of normal, boring, just wood style. We can't do real wood flooring because when you have a moisture problem, and especially because it's going to be in the bathroom, definitely can't have real wood. We knew that off the bat. So some sort of laminate vinyl flooring that's very good for high wear surfaces, very good for dogs, very water resistant. That's what we needed. And we looked for several weeks, and we went to Home Depot more times than I wanted to, and thought about colors and textures and all sorts of things, and finally settled on one, but they did not have it in stock, so we had to order it going off of the pictures online, not getting to see the color in person. And the color is really important to me because I wanted it to be something sort of along the same lines of the floor that I had painted, and that is a hard thing to find. I almost gave in and just went with a very generic gray flooring, but we finally decided that this other bluish gray flooring would be something that would add more interest and add more character to the tiny house, because it's kind of like a special structure. It's a little bit more playful and whimsical than a traditional house, so why go with boring flooring? As you can see from the ceiling and the walls, I really don't shy away from color, and I can't believe the gray walls lasted as long as they did. And our floor is already blue because we have these mats down, so I'm thinking the new flooring is going to be a very nice addition. The problem is that these mats make it a little bit challenging to clean the floor, and I think once we have the whole floor just uniformly covered with the vinyl, it's going to be really nice to clean, and it'll be even better when the eyesore by the door with the wet wood is gone. That will make me really happy. The big push right now is that, of course, winter is coming, and we want to try to have as many of these projects done as possible before it gets really cold. Pat was out here all day working on reorganizing these bins, which always kind of turn into a mess during the summer when we're pulling things out. And then he was cutting wood, processing wood. This is the wood that we have left from the cord that we got last year, but we knew we needed to order at least another cord, so he reorganized some of the wood. The back bin is already full of wood that's ready to go, so as soon as we get a cold night, we'll be able to start using the wood stove. I still have to order a new cap for the chimney. We're going to switch it out and see if hopefully we don't have to clean it as frequently if the airflow is a little bit better. So the cap we're using right now is a marine cap. It's a very like conservative cap, because if you're on a boat you have to be super careful. But we're gonna try switching out the cap. Hopefully we won't have to climb on the roof every 2 weeks. But the tarps are all laid out. We're getting our wood delivery tomorrow. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for today. It's Sunday night. We've been working on house projects all weekend. Kind of bummed that the weather was like perfect, and I would have loved to have gone out with the Scamp this weekend, but we knew it's getting to like crunch time. We had to start focusing on house projects no matter how beautiful the weather was. And we did a lot of stuff this summer. That's why we put all this stuff off. So it was a trade. But I got a fire started. We're gonna sit out here. Pat actually went to go grab some food because the tiny house is in complete disarray, especially the kitchen. So we were both like, nobody's cooking. Let's get food. And then we're just gonna sit outside and enjoy the rest of our weekend, because next weekend's gonna be part 2 of tiny house projects. Thanks so much for being here and going on this journey with us, living in a tiny house. I hope that you'll check out some of our other videos about how we ended up living in a tiny house and what our experiences have been like, as well as some of our travel videos with our 16-foot Scamp.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and though time flies, we'll have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.